Global News has learned how the government plans to deal with the pandemic long term. That's going to be the centerpiece in the upcoming throne speech. Our Ottawa Bureau Chief Mercedes Stephenson has been digging into what's in that speech and what isn't. Mercedes.
Robin, the speech from the throne is what sets the government's agenda, and it will primarily focus on managing what's happening right now with the ongoing pandemic. The government very much still sees this as being in crisis mode, according to senior government sources, and there is a belief that COVID-19 could last in this current state for up to another 2 years. The speech from the throne won't include actual numbers or detailed plans, but rather it will chart a course that the sources say will focus on stopping another backslide into the kind of numbers we saw of COVID-19 early in the spring. It will also set out new flexible supports for Canadians that will focus on health and finances. Expect to see childcare, healthcare, and housing as big-ticket items that the government will be leaning towards, according to one senior source. Cabinet is also weighing a significant injection of spending for the provinces to go towards things like long-term care homes, as well as programs that will be targeted for those who were the hardest hit in the pandemic: low-income women and racialized Canadians. Also expect to see EI become more flexible. Lower on the agenda, that proposed green shift a lot of people were talking about. Multiple sources had told Global News that there were factions in cabinet that wanted as much as $100 billion in green spending, but that's being put on the back burner as the government deals with the immediate threat of the novel coronavirus.
Mercedes, are we expecting anything in the throne speech about balancing the budget and getting out of all this spending?
Well, Robin, the recovery is in mind, as you've heard the Prime Minister promising to build back better, but not details on how this will all be paid down. Right now, government sources say that they plan to grow their way out of debt by getting more people into the workforce. They're also willing to abandon those traditional fiscal measurements like debt to GDP ratio in the short term. The speech from the throne will look at what one source called a green recovery, making Canada more resilient to future economic shocks like pandemics and doing things like bringing critical supply chains back here to Canada. But we won't know details on the numbers or how they'll get out of this for some time. The speech from the throne will be light on those details. We'll hear something this fall in terms of a fiscal update, but don't expect a budget until around March. Robin?
Mercedes Stephenson in Ottawa. The Prime Minister is weighing in on the We Charity controversy for the first time since the organization revealed it's shuttering its Canadian operations. Justin Trudeau has been criticized for being too close to We, but today he was very careful to keep his distance. Abigail Beeman is following the story for us. Abigail, what did the Prime Minister have to say today?
Robin, the Prime Minister was asked whether he took any responsibility for We's closure. His answer was long, 1 minute and 42 seconds, but in that time he never mentioned the organization's name. Here's some of what he said.
We moved rapidly with a partner that we felt was able to actually deliver it. Obviously, the way it ended up working out was really unfortunate for everyone involved.
Especially for students, said the Prime Minister, since the program that could have been worth close to $1 billion never got off the ground. The deal fell apart amid a political firestorm after it emerged members of Justin Trudeau's family were paid hundreds of thousands of dollars in speaking fees for We events. While committees trying to investigate what happened are on hold with Parliament prorogued, the opposition is still pushing the issue. The NDP sent a new letter to the lobbying commissioner asking questions, including whether the Kielburger brothers themselves should have registered as lobbyists. Even though 18 other members of the organization did during the controversy, Mark and Craig Kielburger did not. The lobbying commissioner has opened a preliminary assessment in this case, but does not comment whether investigations are underway. The Prime Minister didn't offer any specific comment Friday about news We is shutting down operations in Canada.
As I said, I regret not having recused myself in the beginning because of the perception involved, but there was no conflict of interest here.
So a doubling down on previous messaging. Ultimately, the Ethics Commissioner will rule as to the question of conflict with an investigation still underway, although Trudeau disagreed with the Commissioner's findings the last time Mario Dion found the Prime Minister broke the rules over the SNC-Lavalin affair. Robin?
All right, thanks, Abigail.